Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Sideline Speaks with myself, Brittany Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network. What's going on, K Walker and Jay?
All is well, all's well. We're back. Looking forward to a great one.
Yeah, feels good to be back. We got a lot of great stuff to talk about, so it's going to be a fun show tonight for sure.
It's funny because I forgot to upload a clip, but I'm gonna wait for next week for that one. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna upload it next week.
I'm not
It was
sure what you're talking about.
it was something that Jay put in the thread, and I want the world to see it.
Okay.
I think it's on Facebook, but people don't know to watch it. So it just reminded me of something because you had your hat off earlier, and I was like, oh, okay. Definitely gotta upload that one. But it's from their old, I guess, football days, right?
Yeah,
from high
yeah.
school, and K Walk was speaking to the audience, so I'm gonna
Oh,
definitely upload that. I
Yeah.
was supposed to upload it today, and I forgot. That was the one thing I forgot, but it's okay.
Come
Yeah.
on, Brett.
Walk was talking that talk, Britt.
You gotta put yours up there too, bro. You gotta put Jay led off with the whole thing. I was following suit. Man.
Well, Jay, make sure you upload it as well.
I'll send mine too. I'll send mine too.
But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Please subscribe, like, and comment to our YouTube channel at The Sideline Speaks. We are also on X at Sideline Speaks, anywhere you can listen to your podcast. But yes, it's a lot going on in the sports world. My goodness. And usually this is the time that sports tend to die down. But we got national media, major news, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, Fox. I don't know what other news station I could talk about can say. Everybody is talking about women's basketball at this particular moment. And they are specifically talking about it. I don't know if you guys watched it yesterday, but ESPN's First Take, of course, we all know the main host is Stephen A. Smith. But I think the mic drop was by Monica McNutt. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion, guys. But just to give you the backstory of before we head in, they were discussing the situation between Caitlin Carter. I'm sorry, Caitlin. I'm mixing their names together. Right. Caitlin Clark from Indiana Fever and Kennedy Carter from the Chicago Sky in an incident, if you want to call it the cheap shot on Caitlin Clark. And it was, let's be real, it was. And this has been a major topic across all national media. But Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp they believe that some of the players are jealous, or maybe all the players are jealous, and they was just going back and forth about it. I do have a clip of the mic drop moment. So I'm gonna just show you guys the mic drop moment, and then when we come back and we'll just discuss basically everything. And then throughout, we'll have different videos to pop in just to get your opinions on. So you guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. It should be popping up. Hold on. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Is it going to play me today? Okay, here it comes.
What I'm saying to y'all, though, and I know we got to go to break, and we didn't necessarily go there, maybe we should. There are so many layers in this conversation around the way that it's being discussed. When you no. And yes, Shannon, I know y'all are going to say and Stephen A., I know you're going to, you just shared that you've talked about the WNBA on your program too. You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level. That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Kennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
All right. Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Wow.
All right, we gotta go. You guys.
So did you
know you're my guy, but
who does?
It's freezing on this. That's fine. But we got the gist of it. The gist, Molly's face, man. Molly's face is the one that got me the most.
Mhm.
Got me the most. Her eyes was like, whoa. Now remember the Stephen A. show.
Yes.
But anyway, I just want to get your thoughts on, I guess, just the conversation as a whole. Again, this has been a major topic for. It's just seems like it's just taking over everything right now. But it's a major topic, and then the mic drop with Monica McNutt. K-Walk, I'm actually gonna come to you first on this one.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I was watching it live, as it was going on, even though I was supposed to be working. I was stealing some company time there, but hopefully my employers aren't watching. But nonetheless, and I had the same face as Molly had, and I was looking at Stephen A the whole time to see what he was going to say, and he was really stuck. Usually he has a quick rebuttal or a quick response, but he just really didn't. He had to wait till the end of the end of the day, if you will, on his podcast. I'm pretty sure we're going to get to that. But yes, I mean, she's absolutely right. I mean, Stephen A does it. I mean, a lot of people have not talked about the WNBA until last year. I mean, even last year I'm one to admit that, last year was like the first season that I've actually started to watch it. And I said, listen, I already had maybe the season before, because I was the Phoenix Mercury. It was my team. And then I went over to the New York Liberty. So I started to get into a little bit more. No one was really talking about the if you will, the WNBA. Now people are watching, and now it's called the W. We're referring to it as the W. So I get where Monica was coming from. But Stephen A does have a point too. No one was really talking about that, the WNBA for the most part. It just wasn't enough there, or enough excitement. And I think someone else said, I think Stephen A said it as well. The WNBA wasn't really talking about the WNBA. So they're at fault as well, in a sense, where there wasn't a lot of promotion. We've talked about it, so many times on our platform, that it's hard to find where these games are being played. Easier now, but it was hard to find where these games are, and the promotion of it wasn't that great. So I understand where Monica's coming from, and I also still understand where Stephen A is coming from as well. But she is right, because Stephen A, could have done more with it. We noticed with the HBCU fall off as well. When Coach Prime was at HBCU, when he was at Jackson State, we had HBCU Wednesdays on First Take. And then as soon as Coach Prime goes to Colorado, we don't hear anything about HBCUs any longer. And not only that, Stephen A went to an HBCU. I mean, he was proud to say that, when all that hype was around the HBCUs and Coach Prime and that. So he's at fault with that as well. And he said he's the executive producer of First Take. So he handpicks what people come on there, what guests are on there, what co-hosts are on there, what topics are going to be talked about as well. So I understand where both sides are coming from, but I just love the fact that someone finally just stumped Stephen A and left him speechless. And Monica did an excellent job, so eloquent in everything that she says. I mean, she's just spot on. It was absolutely what we call a mic drop. I wish someone would have mic dropped on there, but Stephen A would have got so mad if someone would have done that. But yeah, just great points from both sides. But I really do like how Monica handled that, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to get into his response, just a little clip of his response earlier, because he did respond later from the Stephen A show. I think is also somewhere out there on YouTube as well. I think it's on YouTube. But Monica McNutt, she was right. I think they call it Eminem. She was right. He has a lot of influence and power there at ESPN. So he could have been covering the W or women's sports long ago, if that's something he really wanted to do. He just chose not to. Granted, maybe it just wasn't the thing to talk about at the time, but that's something he chose not to do. I'm pretty sure, like I said, his influence would have changed that many, many years ago. There was a bunch of talent that came out way before Caitlin Clark. I mean, years ago. I mean, from when let's see, I can't go back too far because he didn't have First Take but so far. But you have, Candace Parker, you had Maya Moore, you had Skylar Diggins Smith. I know I'm missing a couple. Brittany Griner, so many years back. just a couple years ago, or Diana Taurasi, although she's been there forever. And she, so there's been a lot of talent, a lot of skill that he could have chosen to speak about. But granted, I understand, it's a media thing. You want to go with what you think people think, I guess, is going to feel is what they think is most popular or whatnot. But again, I'll get into the media in a second, how I feel about them. But Jay, I'm gonna come to you first before we get to the Stephen A response. And just your thoughts on what Monica McNutt had to say pertaining to, his not using his platform.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. I love what she had to say. I thought she made some great points in an argument where Shannon and Stephen A, to me, just weren't really following the discussion all that well. To me, it felt like Stephen A, and maybe even more so Shannon, were just trying to be argumentative and not even really listening to the points that she was trying to make. So I feel like that's kind of what made her go to where she went. And I certainly agree with her about that. But I do, to your point, Britt, I do think there is also another side to it because, okay, Walk, you said Stephen A is the executive producer of the show. Look, no matter how you feel about Stephen A, First Take has been the #1 show on ESPN for as long as we can count. So,
right.
I mean, part of his job is to talk about things that the masses are going to be interested in. So if he's, whatever metrics they use to figure out, hey, what are people talking about? If people aren't talking about the WNBA, why would he talk about it on his show? So I do see it from both sides. Yeah. I've been watching women's basketball. I've been watching the WNBA for as long as I can remember. So I'm a huge women's basketball fan, and I've always been looking for more conversation or discussion about women's basketball, and it has been hard to find. I think some of that is on the media, but K-Walk, to your point, I think some of it is on the WNBA as well, because they haven't done a great job up to this point in terms of marketing and putting themselves out there. So I think there's issues on both sides, but just in general, Britt, I totally agreed with Monica, and I was glad that conversation ended the way that it did. The first time I've seen Stephen A speechless in my whole life.
Right. Right.
Finally. No.
Right.
My guy from Mel from Man Down Sports, make sure you guys subscribe to his channel as well. It's fantastic. Fantastic show. He said Monica flamed that boy.
Yeah.
And then he came back
way to put it.
And then he came back and said Stephen A gets zero respect from me. And I could see that from a different perspective, and we'll get into that in a second because I'm going to get into the response. But before we get there, let's kind of take it back just a little bit because of this whole conversation, and some of the videos I'm going to be showing discusses this, why this particular Monica McNutt and Stephen A situation transpired. So as I mentioned earlier, it was an incident on a court between Kennedy Carter, where she shoved, or prior to the inbounds, she shoved her very hard, by the way. I can't remember if she fell. I don't think she fell.
No, she fell.
She did fall. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a few days, guys. Some other games that happened in between.
She's still falling, Britt. She's still falling. I think she might just be getting up, right?
But so she shoved her basically down to the ground prior to the ball being inbound. Caitlin Clark is who I'm referring to. And there has been talk that a lot of players are jealous of Caitlin Clark or envious of Caitlin Clark because of what she's doing, for the WNBA, or, the attention that she's now bringing to the WNBA. I guess I just want to get your thoughts on if you agree or disagree, or if you're kind of somewhat in between. Jay, I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah. So first of all, Britt, like I think we all agree that what Kennedy Carter did, we all say, look, that's not the right thing to do. That's not a basketball play, as everyone has been saying. I think we all probably agree on that. At the same time, it's not the worst thing that has ever happened in the WNBA. I thought what Alyssa Thomas did to Angel Reese 2 weeks ago was worse than that. So yes, it was wrong, but let's not make it more than what it really was. And also, I would say too that like rookie hazing is not new to the WNBA. Go back and watch some of those videos of Candace Parker, another player who came into the league with a similar type of hype for that time, I guess I would say, right? And veterans went after her. So it's not anything new. I think the problem, Britt, is that we have a lot of new fans to women's basketball and to the WNBA. They're not even necessarily basketball fans. They're Caitlin Clark fans.
Right.
And they think that this thing should go a certain way, and it's not going necessarily the way they thought it would play out. So I think that's creating a lot of the banter as well. As far as jealousy, Britt, like I don't look at it like that. Like if you've ever been an athlete, if you've ever been in a competitive situation, anytime someone new comes on the scene, you're not just laying down for them. Like you want to compete against them. You want to go at them. You want to say, hey, look, yeah, you're coming in with all the fanfare. Yes, you're supposed to be great, but I'm here. I've been in this league. You're going to have to prove yourself on this level. So I think it's more of that than it is jealousy. Now, might there be some players that are jealous? Look, I'm sure there are some, but I don't necessarily think that's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing people competing, and sometimes in the heat of competition, things happen. But I'm not going to go on this whole big jealousy thing because although Caitlin Clark has played well up to this point, she still has a lot to prove on the professional level.
Jay, I don't know how much better you could explain that, to be honest with you. You said it way more calmer, way more eloquently than I could have ever said it, because I was getting ready to go in. And I'm like, you kind of brought my temper down a little bit. Thank you for that. No, I agree. I think people using the word jealousy is such a very, very strong word. And I do agree with you, Jay. I mean, life in general, you unfortunately, you do have those people who may get jealous, who may get envious of an individual because maybe they are getting attention or because maybe they are getting the major dollars, which Caitlin Clark is. But to put the WNBA as a whole, all these women are jealous of Caitlin Clark and they're just envious and they're attacking her on the court. And I'm like, first of all, pay attention to the WNBA. If you never watched the WNBA prior to Caitlin Clark, as Jay so eloquently stated before me, if you never watched it, go back from when the WNBA first started in '96. They would, my goodness, it was basically like the 90s versions of the NBA. That's basically what the WNBA to me is right now. A lot of people have stated it's football. It's not that bad. We gotta remember, basketball is still a physical sport. I know we got used to the charming softness of the NBA, and you get a foul if you breathe on somebody wrong. That's not what basketball was supposed to be. Yeah, you might get some elbow shots. Yeah, you might get some, somebody stepped on your foot purposely or whatnot. It's the competitive nature. Now, a lot of these shots are not right. They're not, like Jay said, they're not basketball plays, but it's a competitive, physical sport. And these girls, they go hard. They go very, very hard. So I need the media, and I'm not saying all men, guys, because I love you guys, but the majority of men in the national media, the major networks like ESPN and FS1, I have seen them. It feels like they're trying to pit women against one another, and it's just like, no, you're wrong, because real women, they're going to support Caitlin Clark. They're going to say you're a rookie and you coming into a pros league, and guess what? You're going to feel it until you learn or until you develop. You're going to feel it. And I guarantee you, in so many years, Caitlin Clark's probably going to do the same thing to another rookie if the rules don't change, of course. And believe it or not, I've seen Caitlin Clark, even in Indiana Fever, take a little elbow shot if she can, or push somebody if she could get away with it. It's basketball. Stop making it so much more than what it's not. It's not what everybody else is trying to say it is. So, and like you alluded to, Jay, that Alyssa Thomas shot on Angel Reese, that was a dangerous play.
Absolutely.
Because the way she hit her head on that court, that could have knocked her out like for good. She could have had some major damage, but nobody's talking about that. The national media doesn't want to talk about that. I'll get into another part of that later. I'm not going to get into it right now. but we're just gonna get elevated and elevated. This might take my whole entire segment.
That's all right,
but
too.
that's okay. But K-Walk, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you there. I mean, but when you talk about Kennedy Clark, Kennedy Cooper, that's who she is. I mean, and prior to that play, if you guys watched it, I was watching the game live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm dialed into the WNBA. I have the package. I'm dialed into it. I'm even putting money on them. I mean, putting money on them, to be honest with you. But yeah,
Thank you, K-Walk. Thank you.
I am. I'm dialed in fully. But yeah, I mean, Caitlin Clark was giving it to Kennedy as well, but prior to that play, she elbowed her. I think Jay mentioned it. She elbowed her and said something to her, and then they came back down court. She hit the shot, meaning Kennedy hit the shot, and then called her the B word. We all saw that. There's no escaping that. You can read lips. She saw that. We saw that, and she hit Caitlin Clark. That's fine. I mean, not to hit Caitlin Clark, but everything that goes on in between the game, we understand it's a physical game, women or not, ladies and gentlemen. It's a physical game. These are competitors. These women are competitors, and I don't want it to. I don't want people to sit here and say like they're the women. They should be acting like this. They're competitors. They hit the weights. They go out there and they put it they put it to the grind out there day in and day out, just like men do, and if not more, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, is there jealousy in the league? I don't want to call it jealousy, to be honest with you, but I think that we're starting to see that the WNBA is taking off since Angel Reese got into the league, since Cameron Brink got into the league, since Cardoso got into the league, and since Caitlin Clark got into the league. These rookies, and I'm not just going to put it on one particular player, because this rookie class is by far the most popular class, and it's elevating the game to where we want it to be, where WNBA wants it to be. And we're going to see this. We're going to see that. We talked about this before the season even started. Jay, one of your segments is Caitlin Clark. What type of rookie year is Caitlin Clark going to have? And one of my responses is that that people are going to come after her. They're going to come after to see what she's made of, not just physically, but mentally. How can she handle that? How can she handle what she's going through right now? And is it because of jealousy? No, it's because she's a highly touted rookie, and that people are going to go at her. And just like Angel Reese is another one. We just saw, you talked about the Thomas, the Thomas foul, and that was way more malicious than what took place with Caitlin Clark. But we're not talking about that because it's Caitlin Clark, because she's the number 1 overall pick, and what she achieved while she was in college. So the jealousy stuff missed me with that. I just think that right now it's just all about these girls are getting hype. They're getting so much hype, and these players just want to welcome into the league, and they agree. They understand with all this hype that's surrounded that they can capitalize off of this. They can capitalize off all the hype that's surrounded by these players, and what they want to do is just capitalize. But at the same time, hey, thank you, but I still gotta haze you. He's still a rookie, though. We all went through it, Jay. You went through it as a freshman. I went through it. Well, I only went through it once when I was in Canada, but that's a story for another day, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, it happens. You haze people. It's part of the initiation process. It just really is. It may be an unspoken rule, but nonetheless, it's something that each highly touted rookie that comes into there, like you mentioned, Candace Parker, had to go through it. Everyone has to go through it. But right now, since there's so much eyes, there are so many eyes on this league right now and on this sport, it's going to be elevated, and especially when we don't really have anything else to talk about. NBA finals don't start till Thursday. NFL is in the off season, so there's really not much to talk about. So it's going to be blown up a little bit more because of the downtime, if you will.
Yeah, and Britt, just one other thing.
But go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I think this was mentioned on one of the shows. I look at it more as maybe frustration and not necessarily jealousy. Like if you're Asia Wilson, if you're Breanna Stewart, if you're Arike Ngubawale, right, and you've been dominating in the WNBA, but no one's been talking about you, and now all of a sudden you got a newcomer that's getting all the attention. That is going to be frustrating on some level if you're one of these really talented veteran players. So I see it more through that lens than, oh, I'm just jealous of Caitlin Clark. I have a hard time believing really good players have anything to be jealous about.
But Jay, you just mentioned it yourself. Because of these players that we're talking about, it's not jealousy. Now they should jump on board because of the notoriety that they're getting. Hey, what's her name? I didn't even know how to say it. Let alone know who she is. No, you did. It sounded perfect to me. But I'm just simply saying, like, we may not even know who that person is, let alone know how to pronounce her name. And that's where I was going with, as far as to, take advantage of this, this rookie class that has come in. Not just I'm not just labeling as Caitlin Clark, because Angel Reese is great. Cameron Brink has been great. Yes. Cameron Brink has been great as well. I know Cardosa just came back. Well, she's not back. She just had her debut the other night because of the shoulder injury. But yeah, and looked good as well. Going against her old teammate, a former teammate in South Carolina, Boston there. So yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, Britt, but yeah, that's wanted to throw that in there. Go ahead, Britt.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are right. I don't think Asia Wilson, who just, if I can recall, didn't she just get a sneaker deal? I believe she just got her own sneaker, and I think it's a pretty nice sneaker. Once it comes out, I think I'm gonna get her sneaker. So I think they are going to hop on the bandwagon, because they do support Diana Taurasi was the main one who said it before. I think was it right after the draft or before she even got drafted?
Yes.
We respect Caitlin Clark. We're going to respect what she brings to the game. We love that she's bringing new fan base to our game, but we're not just going to give her anything in this game. She's going to have to earn it, just like each and every one of us. Everybody's complaining about the physicality. Was anybody complaining about the physicalities in the 90s with the NBA when people was going hard? The Bad Boys Pistons with MJ. People still talk about that, don't they? So it's a lot of talk of people going to stop watching the WNBA due to the physicality. No, they're not. That's just the national media trying to create some stupid narrative to put out there that just makes no sense. Stop with the unnecessary. I'm going to use the word that the young people use. I'm still kind of young, so I can use it. At least I think. Stop the cat. Just stop the cat with the narratives, okay? Stop with the unnecessary narratives trying to get people to choose a side, basically. They're all together at the end of the day, just like, and you hear NFL players say it, the NBA players, they're all brothers. This is like I would have to say for sorority, because it's females, like a sorority of sisters. They're all sisters. Yeah, when they go against each other, they're competitors. But once that game is over, at the end of the day, they're sisters at the end of the day, and they're going to support each other regardless of what happens on the court. It stays on the court. It does not go off the court. Unless you're like Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan, and that's I think it was Michael Jordan, right? Then that's something completely different. But no,
Britt,
go ahead.
The only thing I don't understand, like the people that have been critical, right? Because I saw a bunch of people saying this is typical, women just not supporting women. Like I've seen so many people say that.
Who said that?
I've seen, but my question is though, like, what do they want them to do? Like, what are they supposed to do to support? Like, lay down, let her score, not defend? Like, I don't know what they want people to do. I don't understand how competing at the highest level turns into, oh, this is women not supporting women. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's from people who never played the sport, Jay. That's what it is. I've never played an organized sport, or never played at a high level, I should say. There's so many of them out there. We know the list goes on and on. We're not going to get into the names, but there's so many of them that just sit back and just they watch the game, they analyze it, and they think they have the answer just by watching it, and has never played a sport in their life. So that's where it's coming from, in my opinion.
And then let's be for real. Not all men, guys. So you guys, y'all are not in this category. But most of the men that we hear from, they make a lot of very misogynistic statements. We're not supposed to be physical as females. And I hear it through fans. Who I don't want to watch women play sports. They should be in the kitchen cooking. Oh, what era did you grow up from? What era did you grow up in? This is not the 1800s. So I'm just like, those people I just ignore and just be like, man, whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody's forcing you to watch the W. First of all, don't call yourself a basketball fan, as that's the route that you're going to take anyway. That's an immature route, and you still got a lot growing to do. I don't care if you're 70 years old, 60 years old, 50 years old. I don't care. Grow up. Your mental needs to change. More importantly, your heart needs to change. You probably have a daughter or a niece or a granddaughter, depending on how old you are, that's going to go to the WNBA one day. What you going to do? Not support her? Good luck with that. But anyway, guys, we still been getting to Stephen A. Smith's response, but we got a comment from Mark B. I want to read it before I get into his response. He said, "I agree. Every rookie gets those welcome to the treatment. Choose whatever sport treatment." He's right. We've 100%. Seen it time and time 100%. Again. So stop trying to make it a narrative when it comes to women's sports. We even seen it in non-physical sports. So
Tiger Woods got it in golf. They were talking about it and saying all kinds of stuff to Tiger Woods. So Jordan got it. I mean, everyone that comes in with fanfare gets it. It's nothing new.
Great point, Jay. It's just more than physical. It could be mental. It could be emotional. You know, hazing, if you will. So great point there, Jay.
Yeah.
We probably got it at work one day. Oh, you think you're gonna come in with the fresh eye? This it happens everywhere you go.
Every walk of life.
Right. All right, guys, let's get into my whole segment is just gonna be on this. I know we're supposed to get some other stuff, but we're just gonna talk about this. Let's get into the Stephen A. Smith's response to Monica McNutt, because I thought it was very interesting, and I just want to get your guys' thoughts. Bringing it up right now. By the way, while I'm bringing this up, hopefully you guys can hear me because I can't see you guys right now.
We can hear you.
If you're watching us from YouTube or X, I see a lot of us watching us from X. Please subscribe again to our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate the support. But if you comment live, we'll try to get to your comments. Or if you ask us a question live right in here on air, we will do our best to answer your questions while we are live. All right, guys, here it comes.
You ever heard of Monica McNutt? You have now. Because you first take a lot. Shanae Ogumake, absolutely wonderful, spectacular basketball analyst, etc., WNBA player in her own right. Ask her how it's been to be on First Take. How about Andrea Carter, who's a rising star in this business? How much do you think First Take helped that? What about Kimberly Martin? What about Molly Kiram herself? Now, I have sat back for years and taken a lot of shit from people. Some who don't know what the hell they're talking about. Some who act like they don't know just because they want to get at me. I could care less about people getting at me. I just want you to be accurate. And it is highly offensive to me when somebody implies or flat out states, like Monica McNutt did this morning, which was factually incorrect. I challenge anybody to find a show in sports television that discusses women issues, that discusses the WNBA or women's sports, that highlights and profiles female analysts more than First Take.
All right. I want to get your thoughts on what he said. That was his response. He just couldn't take a L. He had to respond. Jay, I'm gonna come to you first on this one.
Britt, you said you thought it was interesting. I had a different word. I thought it was stupid. Quite frankly, it reeked of ego, narcissism, and really had nothing to do with the topic. Like, is he saying like he made Monica McNutt, he made Shanae, he made all the ladies that we see on ESPN throughout the day? Like, is he's the reason for their success? Stop it, Stephen A. And it wasn't factually incorrect, because Monica said you could have been talking about this a few years ago, which he could have been. That's not an incorrect statement. He could have been, and he wasn't, and he knows he wasn't. Now, if his point is, well, nobody was, okay, but that doesn't negate the fact that if you were that interested in women's basketball, you could have been talking about it. But the part that turned me off the most about that, Britt, was him trying to take credit for their success. Like, had it not been for First Take, where would these women be, right? Come on, Stephen A. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a level of arrogance. And he didn't talk about a little bit earlier today about it. And I think he tried to change, the way he was trying to say things. But in that moment, just take your L. Be the man, be the bigger man, and take your L. Sometimes we all lose in life. You lost. And to me, you just went on your own show, late night show, and just looked like you was trying to cry like a baby because you got beat down by a woman. Let's call it what it is. And you didn't like it. And we seen the embarrassment that showed all on your face on your show on First Take yesterday. It's okay. She wasn't lying. She was telling the truth. She wasn't trying to come at you in the wrong way. She even said, Stephen A., you're my guy. But let's be honest here. You could have been talking about the W 3 years ago. I'm pretty sure they're very grateful. They have a lot of gratitude for what you have done or helped them accomplish, during their career. But to make it seem like they need to bow down to you and kiss your feet, come on with the arrogance. Come on with the stupidity. If you're going to do something, do it because you just want to help somebody from the goodness of your heart. Not because years later you're going to say, oh, remember I did this for you? Right. You owe me whatever it may be. I didn't like that part of it. Don't do that. And that was my problem with Stephen A. on that. You really try to make it sound like these women owe you their life and they don't owe you nothing. Stephen A., I can't curse. I got to come up with some different words. We are all the same. We eat the same. We poop the same. I can't say the S word.
Why not?
We sleep the same. So you know better than any of us. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what power you think you have in a materialistic world. You know better than anybody. We all on the same level. But K-Walk, what's your thoughts?
Hey, real quick, K-Walk, before you go, I just want to share this comment from Mark B. He said he sidestepped the original argument that had nothing to do with the point she was trying to make. And I agree with that 100%. But go ahead, K-Walk.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's hard for me to say anything else, than you guys already stated. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's just one of those moments, kind of like in Friday, like Smokey said, he gonna cry in the car, and that's exactly what he did. He cried in the car. He cried in the car, man. That's all he could do, man. Seriously. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, what he said in his show that night and that YouTube, the one you just played, Britt, had nothing to do with what Monica was talking about. She was talking about the WNBA, not all of the ladies that have been on there. And Stephen A., stop it, man. Really? You brought these ladies up. These ladies didn't put them in the work. You created this because you're the executive producer of First Take, and you created Monica McNutt and all these ladies that you mentioned. You missed me with that, man. So look, like Britt said, take the L, man. Just take the L, walk away. It's all right, man. It's all right. We've all done it. We've all lost arguments to women. Men have lost arguments to women. And I get it. You don't want to concede to it. I get it. I've been there. And like Jay said, it's an ego thing, man, with us. But you have to do it, bro. You have to do it. I don't think Stephen A. is married. I don't think Stephen A. is married. Exactly. So that's how you know he's not married, because he doesn't know how to concede to taking an L to a woman. So as long as you're married, you got to know when to fold them, know when to hold them, know when to walk away, man. And it's just one of those times, one of those incidents where you have to walk away. Monica got you, bro. Monica got you. You're the McNutt right now, and in my opinion. So turn it back over.
That he's gonna cry in the car line. That's perfect. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it any better than that.
But no, K-Walk, you're right. That He's the McNutt. That's the one that got me just now.
Mhm.
But no, you're right. You just take your L.
Mhm.
And has any husband want an argument against
Never,
their wife?
never. I'm still
I
waiting.
don't.
I'm
I don't
21
think
years. I'm
so.
still waiting.
I do not think so. All right, guys, I got two more videos pertaining to this Caitlin Clark thing. Because I do want to talk about, could it be a product when it comes to the national media of race? You know, could it be an issue of race? Caitlin Clark, she's a young, very, very talented, but she's a white young lady entering I'm not going to quite say a predominantly African American league, because I think the WNBA is a little bit more diverse
Yeah,
than
it is.
any other major leagues, like the NBA and the NFL. But she's a young star entering this, and it does seem like she does get some grace versus other players, as in Angel Reese or Kennedy Carter or whoever else there may be. So I do have a video from this is actually from CNN. That's what I'm saying. This
Ooh,
made it to CNN,
wow,
guys. That's why you heard me mention it earlier.
wow.
Now you make
This
it to
is
CNN.
CNN.
That's
This
a
is
big that's a
CNN.
big that's a big thing. So here's a video. This is with Sherry Champion, and I believe it's Bob Costa, if I said his name right.
Costa.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Costa. Thank you. So here it is now.
To your earlier point, there was an incident recently. Alyssa Thomas, who happens to be African American, grabbed Angel Reese by the throat and threw her to the floor. Flagrant 2, ejected from the game. The reason why that doesn't spark as much conversation isn't just that Caitlin Clark is a bigger star than Alyssa Thomas. It's because it's a black on black incident.
Wow.
And you don't have that dynamic that people can comment on, yes, but also exaggerate and make the entire story sometimes.
And also,
well, that is really that is between the lines.
Cared about the WNBA when women of a certain color were beating up and bruising each other, because it's been happening since the league's inception. We have this star, this person that people love, they want to protect her. So now the new fans and the new analysts and the new people have so much to say. Bob, thank you for saying that and acknowledging that, because you're a legend in this sport. And you are also gracious enough to say, look, I'm not an expert in the WNBA, but what I do know from the history and what I do know, this is why she is being treated this way, and why no one cares about
I've seen it in every sport.
I mean,
a newcomer is tested and to some extent resented.
My apologies if the video was kind of going in and out. I don't know what's going on, technology, that's what happens. But we got the overall hint of what the video, what they were talking about in the video. So K-Walk, I want to get your thoughts first on what they were saying.
Yeah, first of all, Bob Costas is one of my favorite out there. He does it so professionally, so eloquently, man. Really, and he's spot on. You saw the ladies and how much they admired, him and what he recognizes, and he's absolutely right. I mean, he's absolutely right there. This is, we're talking about. We want to give Angel Reese and give Cardoza and all these ladies, Kia Jackson, some of the top picks out there, they're due. But when you're talking about Caitlin Clark, who's the number one player out there, who's getting all the recognition, and she happens to be white, so we're talking. It's like Bird, when Larry Bird first came into the league, back in the 80s. A lot of people were, the great white hype, if you will, and that's what she's about. This is what it is, man. Is as much as I wanted to sit here and sing "We Are the World" and I wanted to bring everyone together and hold hands. I mean, like Britt, we had a conversation, a while back, and you said I was naive to the situation. I mean, I wasn't being naive. I was just hoping that we could just bring this all together. But it's not the case. It's not the case. It's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I tried. I tried my best. It's not going to happen. But all seriousness, it's about that. I mean, we're talking about an African American woman, female female hitting, and the great white hype, the great white hope, who a lot of people are saying that she's the reason why the WNBA is at the height that it is right now. And then a lot of people are saying that they're resenting that, and we talked about the jealousy aspect and all of that. But yeah, it's I think, is she having the best rookie season right now? I don't know. Because the reason why I said that, because she could be like Isaiah Thomas said when Larry Bird first got into the league. If Larry Bird was a black basketball player, he would just be another good ball player. If he was black, he'd just be another good basketball player. And you got to ask yourself, if Caitlin Clark were black, would she get all of this hype, and would all of this stuff be surrounding? Would we be talking about it? Would it reach Bob Costas and CNN? You know what I mean? And the answer would be no, because we talked about the Angel Reese incident and Thomas and what happened there. Way more malicious than what took place with Kennedy and with Caitlin there. So yeah, we have to address that. As much as we want, and we want to not see color, we know that's what it's about.
Yeah, K-Walk, I agree with you. I thought, in the video they said it perfectly as well. I know a lot of us, we get on these platforms and we try to be as politically correct as possible. We want to get too offensive or go too far left, go too far right, whatever it may be. But we got to call a spade a spade. We got to call it for what it is. Unfortunately, we live in a black and white society, which sucks. And we've seen it when these girls were in college. Caitlin Clark will talk her crap, would do her hand motion. And me as a basketball player, I love it because I'm a competitor, right? Former basketball player. I'm no longer a basketball player, but you know what I mean.
Once a basketball player, always a basketball player, Brett.
Thank you, K-Walk.
Don't let no one take that from you. Don't let no one take that from you.
That's what I'm talking about. So I fall down, break an ankle, then I'm like, I need to sit down somewhere. But anyway,
just a hurt basketball player. That's all.
But as a competitor, I appreciate that. But the way the national media gave her grace and raised her up, lifted her up. Now, when Angel Reese did the same thing, they made her look like the complete and utter villain. She was a bad person. She's this. She's horrible. She's horrific. She's that. She's a thug. And I'm like, well, wait a minute here. If you really pay attention to Angel Reese, she's a fantastic player. She's a great teammate. She loves her and respects her coach, even though we didn't like her head coach, but she adored her head coach. And she stood up so many times, not only for herself, but for other players in the league, in college. And she's doing the same thing in the WNBA. She has incredible leadership abilities, but they don't see that side of it. They just want to see the other side. And I understand. I do believe that Caitlin Clark has given the NBA, has raised the NBA to the next level, or is helping to elevate it to the next level. But guess what, guys? There's at least two players that I know that's in college basketball right now within the next, I think they come out after 4 years, Juju, and then I can never think of her name. So excuse me, young lady. But the young lady from Notre Dame, purely dominant.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to take the yes, they're going to take the WNBA to another level. So every so many years, there's an incredible player that comes out that's going to elevate the WNBA. We have seen it from the time of inception in '96. It has happened with Candace Parker. It has happened, I think, Diana Taurasi, which is another white player. We might forget that she's white, but she's a white player. And now we see it with Caitlin Clark, and it's just going to continue down the line. But we will be kidding ourselves to say that race doesn't play a part. I mean, he just said it in the video. You see Alyssa Thomas and Angel Reese. People don't really care about that. We just seen it the other day. I think Kennedy Carter has done it before. Multiple times. And you heard former WNBA players say, I've had some run-ins with Kennedy Carter. Yeah. They don't care about that. But once you tap on Caitlin Clark, the young white female star, and I love Caitlin Clark, it's a problem. Let's change the rules. Let's protect her. She's our cash cow. She's this, she's that.
Golden goose.
Well, wait a minute. At the end of the day, she's still a ball player. So, and a ball player, if she's struggling right now, she got to get better. And she's going to get better eventually. But stop with that negative narratives. And we see it in our everyday lives, guys. You know, we go to work, we got to be freaking perfect just to get a promotion half the time. Well, the next guy next to us who looks nothing like this could have some mistakes and they making, I'm like, you like, hold up, I do their job. How the heck did they get promoted? So like, we've seen this. This is a known thing throughout history, and it's unfortunate that it's still continuing. But on top of that, now we're dealing with women at the same time. We're women. Well, I'm women, so I got to go with them. We're women at the same time, so we're Black and we're women at the same time dealing with this. But Jay, what's your thoughts?
Look, I thought Bob Costas articulated it extremely well, right? I mean, I don't think you can say it any better than the way that he said it. And we've seen it before. Like, I'm sure, like with Magic and Bird, I'm sure there was a race component in that whole thing as well. But Magic was so likable, it was hard for them to paint him as a villain. Whereas with Angel Reese and Caitlyn stemming back from college, it was a little easier for them to paint her as a villain because of some of the antics and things like that. But guys, we live in America. Of course, there is a racial component to this thing. Like, there's absolutely no doubt about it. There is a racial component to it. K-Walk, I thought you asked like the $10 million question. If Caitlin Clark was Black, would and played the exact same way, did all the same things, it's a great question. Like, would the popularity, would the fanfare, would it have been the same? And I'm not saying I know the answer to it, because obviously with the explosion of media and attention, and we see some of the attention that Juju Watkins is getting and things like that. But that's a really excellent question. But yeah, Britt, I mean, there's always a racial component to it. And the other thing too is some of these media outlets, right? They're using some coded language. Like I saw one today, like with their title, "A Civil War Breaks Out." Now, why do you need to say civil war, right? So we have media outlets playing into the racial part of it as well. So yeah, I thought Bob Costas said it best. Very nuanced, thoughtful, and truthful with what he said.
Yeah, I mean, and let's also be real. Where is Caitlin Clark from?
Right. She played in Iowa. She's
right.
Middle America.
Right. So, Midwest. And let's Midwest, predominantly probably called white. We're just gonna say white, Black, predominantly white area. And they're gonna all attract to her. So, and that's her. She is their precious princess right now. Don't touch her. So. And those are the fans and the new analysts that she's bringing in, which I can appreciate the new fandom.
For sure.
I absolutely appreciate it. But stop creating these unnecessary narratives. Go back and watch the game. Look at the other talent that's out there, and you can see how special this WNBA league really is, and how special these women are, and how elite they are as players. Before I get to the last video,
Britt, like with all that being said, like I think we all agree that Caitlin Clark was phenomenal in college, and we think she's going to be really good in the WNBA too. Right. Like we're not, as people say, hating on Caitlin Clark. We all think she's going to be a really good player.
Absolutely.
But let's just not put the cart before the horse. There were so many people that were just ready to crown her from day one, and it just doesn't work like that.
Absolutely not. We got a couple comments before I get into the last video, because I got to play the last video and then we move on. First one, Mark B. Again, thank you for just watching us. Hope you could share our channel as well. And thank you for your comment or your question. Do any of you guys know what Caitlin Clark is saying about these hard fouls? I've seen her coach crying, but I haven't heard too much from her directly. Any of you guys want to take?
To her credit, Britt, I think her responses to all of this sort of drama have been spot on.
Yeah,
she said, "Hey, it's a physical league. I know people are making it tough on me. I'm not going to I think she has pretty much said all the right things in terms of some of the things that have happened. I'm sure she wants some of the calls out on the floor as all players do. But in terms of her interviews in the media and just saying, hey, I got to play through it. It's tough. It's physical. This is the way this league is. I think she said all the right things in the media.
Jay, do you think she's saying that to the players that hit her? You think she's saying that same?
No,
Hey,
I'm sure behind closed doors, K-Walk, she might be singing a completely different song. But in the media, I think she said all the right.
She's handling the media well. She's handling the media really well. But there's a reason why we're talking about this. Go ahead.
I see her growth. I do see her growth just in a little bit of time, because I think the first time she went out there, I think it was a little like, they hitting me hard or whatnot. But she's young. She's a rookie. That's going to happen. But now she's like, you know what? It's a part of the game. I got to get there. I got to get stronger. I just got to come back at them type of. You could see her growth, and that's what I like to see. So right now she's not complaining. She's going along with it. She definitely got to get stronger because I think she got talent. We don't want her to be out the league, right? But again, time, it's going to come. Like that stardom that we've seen in college, that's going to get there. She's got to get used to this league and get used to the strength of these other ladies. All right, guys, we got one more comment, and then after the last video. Jordan Smith. Hey, that's my cousin. I know this person. I'm like, hold up, I know that name. She said, yes, if she was black, she still get the hype. That's a crazy statement.
I don't think it's a crazy statement. I mean, he might be right. She might still get all the hype, but I don't think asking the question is crazy. I really don't.
Wow. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, cousin and I disagree.
I don't think that's a crazy statement to ask.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's
I'm not just saying it because I said it. I brought it up. I really want to know if she was black. What does she be? What does all this hype be around? Around her?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think what you got to understand, it's not the NBA. So yeah, maybe if the NBA, she might just get the hype. But I don't think she'll get the hype in the WNBA right now. It's only 20 something years in existence right now. So I think at this point in time, no. Now, if you're asking me in 4 or 5 years, it might be a different story, because now we got to get through this. We got to get through all of this, right? Yeah. So right now at this moment, no, I don't think she's still the hype. I don't think the WNBA gets elevated to what it is, because again, we have to think of where she is from and the fans that she's bringing in. They're going to be predominantly white. Let's be real. So, and when you're bringing in a predominantly white fan base, everybody in this country is going to pay attention. And what I mean by everybody is usually the national media, who tends to lean left or right and try to get us to do the same.
That's a great point, Britt. Another player probably would not have brought this new fan base. And so I think that right there alone elevates the level of hype and interest and attention for sure.
Right. Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to end it here. All right. I got one last video. And this is, excuse me, because I love her. She's a former WNBA player. Now she's an amazing host on ESPN. Shanae, help me out.
Yeah, her last name is tough.
I think it's like
Goomba K or something like that.
Yeah,
but don't quote me on
something like that. I thought she addressed this perfectly, so I'm going to play her video right now and just get your thoughts real quick on what she said. It's coming in now. Sorry if it's going in and out.
So this is my State of the Union WNBA edition. Let's start with the play. For those who may be new to this, the WNBA has always been a physical league full of competitive fire and trash talk. And on the full sequence of that play.
Uh-oh, don't tell me it froze on us. My goodness.
It's like it froze up on us.
Competitive fire and trash talk. And on the full sequence of that play, Caitlin was talking. And in this league, no one backs down to trash talk. Now, I have played with Kennedy Carter, and her choice to retaliate on a non-basketball play was literally foul and something that she has struggled with her entire career. That was not okay. But one player's approach is not indicative of an entire league. All rookies, especially number one picks, I know what it's like, have been tested mentally, physically, emotionally, from Candace Parker to Sabrina Ionescu to Kelsey Plum to Skylar Diggins-Smith. And a few days ago, Alyssa Thomas was just ejected for a hard play on Angel Reese. Plays like this happen in sports, but now it's being used to further agendas that don't serve the game. So when it comes to women's athletes, there's this expectation that players in the heat of the game should constantly stop what they're doing and be appreciative of Caitlin. They should bow down instead of being the competitors that they are. These women are elite basketball players who are competitors, who show up and show out every night before the eyes were there on the game. We all know and we appreciate the unparalleled amount of growth and attention that Caitlin, I'm her biggest fan, is driving to help become the beacon of so much interest and engagement and viewership to this game. But that narrative, that actually does a disservice to her, because the ones who grind through that type of grind become beasts. This is not hate. This is hoops, like any other sport that is professional at the highest level. And I hope people truly get to understand that.
Boy, did she say that right. Yeah. My goodness, did she talk your stuff. Talk your stuff, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Let's give her props right now. Yeah, she said it so eloquently right now. Oh, my goodness. But Jay, I'm coming to you first. What's your thoughts on that?
I can't really add anything to that, Britt. Like, I thought I agreed with everything she said. I thought, like you said, she articulated it really well. There's nothing really for me to add to that. I love what she said. She said it's not hate, it's hoops. And this is someone who's played in the league for a really long time, so she understands it. So, yeah, I thought she articulated that perfectly.
K-Walk.
Yeah, I agree with Jay there. I mean, I agree with her as well. I mean, it can be hate as well because they're their opposing team. I mean, you can hate the opposing team,
right?
It's okay, yeah.
Right.
We know about the rivalries. You know, I know when you and I played together. To this day, I mean, even that day when the first day you and I played together, I didn't like Penn State. That's why I didn't go there. But I get it. I get it. And when sometimes when you seem like someone's getting the best of you, or you don't want them to get the best of you, you try to put them get in that situation and you make those type of plays. Like, I get all the physicality of it. Again, other than Kennedy doing that, I don't have a problem with the hard screens, the hard fouls, things of that nature. But I totally agree with everything she laid out there.
Yes, and it was been some hard screens set on her. But I mean, I'm gonna also say this as well, because I kind of did want to end it just by her talking, because she just said it so great. But I'm gonna mess it up a little bit. In these moments. And I do look at it from two perspectives on this, because I just don't know which way to go. And I think Matt Barnes said it before, and I kind of agree with him. When Caitlin Clark, she's a rookie, she's new to this game, she's going to get the shots, like the cheap shots, the unnecessary shots that's going against her. Where are her teammates? And I don't know how to look at it. Is this a situation where they're looking at it like you can deal with it yourself, or it is a situation of, I'm like, is there an attitude adjustment from either Caitlin Clark or her teammates? I don't know which way to go, because I don't see that. Like, when I watched Chicago Sky, they got Angel Reese's back, they got Camarlo Cardosa's back, and those two girls got their back. The way I seen Kennedy Carter and Angel Reese standing up for one another, I'm not seeing that right now in the Indiana Fever's locker room, and it's making me somewhat concerned. And it's just like, is this a culture issue? Is this a player issue? From which player, I don't know. Is this maybe some frustration because of who Caitlin Clark is? It could be all together. I'm not concerned. I'm not exactly sure. But I have been watching that. She gets knocked down. She basically gets picked up. She picks herself up. It's very rare I see any of her teammates come in and run into her defense. So outside of her coach crying in the media, which I'm just like, stop that. I'm a little concerned about that. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on that, but I've paid attention to that a little bit. It kind of reminded me of the Carson Wentz Eagles situation when you knew something was wrong in that locker room. And Carson Wentz's attitude just wasn't right, because you had Jason Kelce look at him like, get up, man, and just kept going.
Yeah. Yeah, Britt, I consider myself a body language expert. And I've picked up on some body language with that team that it's like, I don't know, but something doesn't seem right. And like Aaliyah Boston, I feel like she has sort of tried to intervene from time to time. So I might excuse Aaliyah Boston from this, but everybody else, they haven't seemed too gung-ho to really step in or defend or help her up off the floor, defend her, or anything like that. Not saying that they've been like against her, but they just haven't been real gung-ho about trying to take care of her, I'll say. And really what I think it is, Britt, is that she's not the best right now as it stands today. She's not even the best player on that team. I think the girl Kelsey Mitchell, I think her name is. I think she's the best player on the team right now. Now someday I'm sure Caitlin will be, but I think some of those other players in the locker room are saying, look, right now you're not even the best player on this team, and you're getting all this praise, all this attention, all this hype. Simmer down a little. Like that's kind of how I've seen it. K-Walk, I'd be interested to see what you think, but that's kind of what I picked up on.
Yeah, man. I think it has a lot to do with the money aspect of it. These ladies don't want to. They don't want to lose money, man. They don't want to lose. They like, listen. These paychecks are, we only play a certain amount of games. Yeah. We only get paid a certain amount. Well, we'll come to your rescue, but if we come to your rescue, it's going to cost us the game. It's going to cost us a game check. So we love you, Caitlin. We want you to do well, but I got a family to feed over here. The landlord is not going to accept. I was helping Caitlin Clark on the basketball court. That's why I can't pay you. They're not accepting that. What I mean? So I think what it ultimately comes down to is that they have to pick their battles, for sure. I was, being a little facetious there, but nonetheless, and you wonder why. You look at it and you wonder why they're 2-9. With that talent that they have. We mentioned Caitlin Clark. We know Boston is there. You mentioned Mitchell, and I was going to mention her as well later on in the show, Jay. Mitchell she's an absolute baller. Without question, man. So yeah, I think these ladies are starting to pick their spots. They know that Caitlin Clark has that money, a $25 million Nike deal, all these other endorsements that come through. She has the rookie contract as the #1 overall pick. So she's got her money. She's got her bag, as the kids call it today. She's got her bag. They don't have that same luxury, things of that nature. So. Now, I think it has a lot to do with that. I could be wrong in my Charles Barkley voice, but I doubt it.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but I doubt it.
I think so. But I also think, like you guys said, she's still a young player. It could be a slight attitude adjustment as well. Maybe right now in this moment, because she's trying to figure out her game on the court. Maybe she's not being quite the best teammate at this moment, but that'll change with time, and then vice versa. They don't know how to approach her, or maybe how to treat her. Do we treat you like a rookie? Do we treat you like the so-called star that everybody wants you to be? How are we supposed to approach you with different things? And that's a learning thing probably for everybody in that locker room. If it's anything worse, which I hope not, but something's got to change on that court, because if you knock one of my teammates down, I got your back. That's just point blank, period. All right, guys. Let's see. Y'all just want to keep going? I could take over the whole thing, Jay. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Britt. If you got more, keep it rolling. I'm
NBA, and I could throw that in there. On the back end as well.
You run the whole thing, Britt. You
all right. So I guess we'll just keep going right through, because that took. We got to get this in. It was a topic that we had to get in. And I thought it was important to talk about as well. Let's see. Do y'all want to talk about the Pat McAfee situation?
I think we could real quick, because it's
real quick.
Yeah.
Just real quick, because I know we've been talking about Caitlin Clark. We'll continue to talk about her forever. But yesterday on his show, the Pat McAfee show, he was trying to bring attention, or trying to explain the attention that she brings to the WNBA, and the viewership that she helped to bring, or the new viewership, I should say. But as he's explaining her, he called her a white bitch. I don't want to say it. I'll just spell it. A white bitch live on air. He did later apologize and say that people took what he was saying out of context. He didn't mean it in a negative way whatsoever. He was trying to speak about it in a positive light. is it ever appropriate for a man to call a woman a bitch, whether it's positive or negative, and on live on TV at that? Whoever wants to take this one, because we're
Go ahead, K-Walk.
Why K-Walk first? Is it ever appropriate? No. Is it ever necessary? So maybe I don't know. But no, but the way he used
you got cancel culture out here.
I know, right? No, I'm just kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with me. I'm joking here. But no, the way he used it, and I watched the Pat McAfee show when he said that. The way he used it, he didn't come out and say she's a white bitch. The way he used it, you got to watch it, ladies and gentlemen. Google it. I mean, YouTube it. The way he said it, like in passing, like the way the conversation or the way his segment was going, he said this white, I can't even do it justice. Just watch it, ladies and gentlemen. The Pat McAfee show, when he called her that, he didn't use it like that. So it was taken way out of context for sure. And, just like, I say it all the time, when I'm watching my favorite basketball team, football team or whatever, I'm like, this dude's acting like a, bitch or whatever, but I do that. We say that, or get, whatever. I don't know. But nonetheless, he used it not to degrade her by any stretch of the imagination. He just, I can't do it justice, ladies and gentlemen. So no, to answer your question, Britt, no, I don't think it's ever appropriate to call a woman that or female that by any stretch of the imagination. We've done it, when we're younger. I've done it when I was younger. Out of frustration, you do that. But yeah, is it right to do that? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Britt. Go ahead. I'm gonna be real quick with this. Look, I understand how the way he was trying to explain it, but there were other words that he could have used. I don't think it's ever okay for really anybody to call anybody a bitch. Let's be real. I understand in a competitive situation it comes out, and we've seen it amongst the ladies in the WNBA. But for him, he's not in a competitive situation. There were other words, young lady, woman, he could have used. Girl, female, there's so many other words that you could have used to describe her in that moment, to try to uplift her or to continue to uplift her with everything that you say. I just think once he said that B word, everything else just went out the window. And he has to understand that. So my thing is, you were so easily able to call her that live on TV. What do you call women on a regular basis? Because that came out real quick and easy. That was my problem with him. It came out a little bit too easy of the tongue. Again, I understand his intent behind it, but choose a different word, because there's a lot of negative connotation that comes with that word, unfortunately, when it's referring to a woman. And I know women call each other that. I'm not saying
guys call each other that too. Guys call each other that too.
Right. But see, I'm different. I don't even use the word. Now, if I call you one, that means I mean it. And I mean it in a way that's a great question. Yeah, if I call you that means I mean it in a way it was supposed to be meant, in that negative way. I ain't saying it in a positive light. So, but I just think for him, you're in a professional platform, right? Use a different word. There's so many different words that he could have used. Baller. He could have used baller. I don't care.
White baller.
I just don't think. Right. Whatever.
But I'm not trying to justify or defend him by any stretch of imagination. But I understand. Yeah, you're right. In his position, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I have no defense for that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't. Yeah,
I don't think it is any different. I mean, like, look, Kate, not to bring. I'm not trying to be personal or anything like that. But you guys have daughters, right? Y'all would look at it like, hold up, did you just call my daughter?
I'd be ready to
so
fight.
Imagine her, right? So imagine her father watching that. Now the good thing is he did apologize. Caitlin Clark did understand where he was trying to go with that, so she didn't take it too offensive. I think that's the important thing to understand here. She said, "Not a problem. I understood where you was going. I appreciate you apologizing to me. That's all that matters." I just think for here on out, it's a learning lesson for him not to call any woman that live on TV, and just in general, don't call no woman that. It's just unnecessary. But Jay, your thoughts? It's supposed to be quick.
No, I agree with you, Britt. on national TV, like with Caitlin Clark, everything that you do or say is going to be a hot button issue. So why even put yourself in that situation? Intent or not, if you say that, how it's going to be perceived. So I just thought it was a poor decision. And really, like you said, a lack of respect to Caitlin Clark. Her father, her mother, her brothers, sisters. I don't know about her family, but I mean, just a lack of respect to say that about somebody on national TV when, like you said, there's so many other words that he could have used. Even if his intent was one thing, how that's going to land, and it's going to get people in an uproar.
Yeah, and I just want to say real quick for our viewers and our followers, I don't want to if I came across and say it's okay to use that word, it is not okay to use that word. I'm just saying I've said it when I was younger, when I was naive and all that good stuff. I'm just saying I don't use it. I don't even remember the last time I've used the word other than maybe you son of a that in that aspect when I'm talking about my football team or my favorite sports team. So with that being said, that I mean, so please no, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy.
Don't worry, K. Well, I'm known to substitute a word because I'm like, you son of a biscuit. I'm known to substitute a word in there just so I don't say the real thing. But all right, guys, let's move on because we got to get some other stuff in. I want to talk about the MLB, but before we do, in a couple days, I'm gonna skip around here. In a couple days, it's the NFL Finals. It officially starts. The NBA Finals. Jumping. The NBA Finals officially start.
49ers Ravens Finals.
You said 49ers. Absolutely not. Heck no. No.
Are you going with a different team other than the Ravens?
No, other than the 49ers. We're not doing that. But no, we have, come on, K-Rock, you throwing me off my game right now. I'm forgetting who the NBA Finals is. It is. But we have the Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavs. I don't know if anybody had the Dallas Mavs in the finals. I'm gonna be honest, I daggone sure did not. I didn't think they was going to get this far. But I'm going to say I'm loving it already. I'm loving the narrative of it. You got Kyrie Irving going to the one place that he is hated the most. And I don't think he likes that area neither. But just give me your general thoughts on the finals. Again, it's 7 games. Well, maybe 7 games. We'll see. And it should be going on when we come back. So we'll dive into more detail next week as well. But just give me a quick preview on game 1 that's going to approach. And I have a quick question. This actually came up on another show that I was on last week, Man Down Sports. I was actually on that show. And actually, I wasn't on it, but I heard them talk about it. Who do you think? And I got to take it from you, Mel. So I know you're watching. I got to take it from you. Who do you think is the best player in this series right now? Jay, I'm going to come to you first.
As far as the best player, Britt, I think to me, Luka has proved himself over the last couple of series that to me, I think he's the best and most consistent player in the series. And he's the player that I think can affect the game the most simply because he's going to have the ball in his hands all the time. So I'm going to give the best player in the series to Luka. In terms of the series as a whole, it's just going to be really interesting. Like Boston's been the best team in the league all year long. But I don't know. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas beats them, And I have to say, like, I was one of those people that I thought, like, Luka and Kyrie weren't going to work out when it first happened. I just didn't see, like, they both need the ball in their hands. I just don't know how this is going to work. I mean, they're in the finals, so they have figured out how to make it work. It's just going to be really interesting. And like you said, Britt, the narrative around Kyrie, I want to see how that plays out. He's going to get a heck of a welcome back in Boston. I mean, it's going to be crazy, some of the stuff that they're saying to him and stuff like that. So for me, it's going to be interesting just to see how he performs on the road. So it's just a lot of fun storylines. But I think I'm not going to try to pick the whole series, but I'm going to say I like Dallas to win game 1.
Yeah, I think for me, to answer the one question, I think the best player in this series, it's like you want to go with Tatum. His consistency just throws me off all the way. One moment he's playing like, oh my gosh, he could be a superstar, and then next moment we're looking at Jaylen Brown or we're looking at Drew Holiday making all the plays. I gotta go with, and this may be crazy because I know how talented Luka is. but I gotta go with Kyrie, and I gotta go with Kyrie, not necessarily because he's the better scorer or he's the better defender. And don't get me wrong, Kyrie cooks. He cooks in that kitchen, whatever kitchen it is on the court, he cooks. But to me, I think experience is everything, and Kyrie has been waiting for this particular moment at this particular time to get back here. And he's been there before. He's done that, and in a moment that he's done it, he's came up with some crucial shots and crucial plays. The last time he won a championship, he was the fourth quarter person. I don't want to say the wrong word here. That helped Cleveland win that championship, and I think he's going to do the same here. He may not be he may not score 50 points like Luka's going to score. We know we're going to get with Luka, but I think Kyrie is the best player, or maybe I should say most important player, I think, in this series, mainly due to experience overall. But as far as the preview of game 1, I don't know. It's something. I'm with you, Jay. It's something with this Mavs team. I don't know what it is about them. And they stepped up their defense. That's what I was concerned about. And this is why I didn't have them going as far as as they are right now. I didn't think they would play any defense, but they have seriously stepped up their defense. And they basically made which is disappointing. They made the Wolves quit that last game. I don't care what nobody says. They made the Wolves quit.
Yeah.
They embarrassed the mess out of them. So I'm gonna go with Mavs game 1 for the series. I got time to change. I think Boston might take it. If KP comes back, I don't know if KP.
He's going to play game 1. He's going to play game 1.
He is playing. Yeah. He is going to play game 1. So I'm gonna say Boston's going to take it, but I'm not counting out the Mavs at all. Okay, well.
Yeah, well, we got 2 games. There's 2 games in before we get to our next show. So I'm going to do Thursday night, then it's Sunday night, and then I think they play. No, actually, I'm sorry. They play Wednesday. Yeah, they play Wednesday night. So yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to say Kyrie, man. I like Kyrie as being the best player, the most important player in this, because what Kyrie has shown to me, what he does is he kind of plays possum in the first half, and then he comes out in the second half. And he closes out games. He does a great job of closing out games. He plays a game where no one really recognizes him or forgets about it. He makes them forget about him because Luka's doing everything and doing with Lively and all those other guys. And then Kyrie comes late third quarter, fourth quarter. Kyrie's doing his thing. He has, he starts off that first half. He has about 10 points, and then he finishes the game with about 25, 26, 27 because he shows up at the right time. And I think that's what it's about. It's not my saying. If you're a long time viewer, it's not you don't have to be great all the time. You just have to be great when you need to be. And Kyrie does that very well. He's great when he needs to be, and so I'm going to go with Kyrie. I like Kyrie being the most important, the best player in this series. To answer the question, I'm going to say the Mavs take first 2 games, ladies and gentlemen. First 2 games.
Oh wow!
Barring any major injuries, there, KP doesn't count. KP doesn't count. KP doesn't count. If you didn't, for the people in the back, KP doesn't count. So if he gets hurt again, that's what he does. That's his MO. We've seen his movies all the time. So that's what he does. So I'm gonna say Kyrie again to answer the question. Kyrie is the most important, the best player in the series, and I do think the Mavs take the first 2 games on the road.
Yeah, you know what, K-Walk? I wouldn't be surprised. It's just that sometimes Boston can be so up and down. Even the series where they should have just ran through teams and they lost. I don't know if it was that Indiana or the first series that they played in. I can't remember who it was. They lost significantly. We was like, what are you doing? You could have been done with this series by now. So I do have concerns with Boston at times. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mavs do take the first 2 teams, especially I call Kyrie now the silent assassin. Yeah, he's been quiet, but he's like, remember who I am. Don't y'all forget.
And Celtics fans, the Mavs can hit threes too. Mavs can hit threes too. Yes, consistently. I will say though, Boston has better defenders, but let's see what happens. They got Drew Holiday, and Drew Holiday's a very, very good defender in that when he defends the guard. We got Mark B. Being a Knicks fan, I hate Boston, but I have them winning in 6. Porzingis will be back, and I just think that Boston is too deep.
Boston is very deep.
Yeah.
I think.
In my opinion,
but I think one of the. I will give Boston this. You know, we know what Jaylen Brown can do. We know what Jason Tatum can do when they're consistent, when they're on. But I think one of their most important players is Derek White. Man, Derek White, he shoots the ball when they need a timely bucket, and he makes important defensive stops. He has done it over the course of this playoffs where they had to lean on somebody to get it done, and it seems to always be Derek White that gets them through a little struggle time and gets them over the hump. And the next thing you know, here comes Jaylen Brown, here comes Jason Tatum, or whoever it may be. And I can't forget Drew Holiday, because Drew Holiday has made some very important stops and plays as well. So those two guys, I think they're very important to the series.
Yeah.
And if there's anyone out there who has a betting line or who cries most to the refs, Luka or Jason Tatum, let me know so I can see what the over/under is, because there's going to be a cry fest in this series.
I'm taking the over on Luka, man.
Okay, there you go.
I'm still taking Luka. You said Luka, right, Jay?
Yeah.
I'm taking Luka on that one too. All right, guys, let's move on. Because we gotta I know we don't talk baseball much. But I thought this was awesome, and it's like a about time type of moment for me. I just want to get your thoughts on it. So, Major League Baseball, aka the MLB. For those who don't know, if you don't know now, you know today. I was today years old when I knew MLB was Major League Baseball. MLB to now include stats from the Negro League. Yes, I could say that. The Negro League. So I want to get your thoughts on that first, and then I have a second question following this. But yes, they are now going to include stats from the Negro League, which will now elevate players to be at the top of the record boards. I can't think of the one guy in particular. I forgot his name. K-Walk, most likely you know. But he now leads a lot of records in the history of the major leagues now. Yeah. So I just want to get your thoughts. Jay, I'm gonna have you go first, and then K-Walk, you're the baseball savant here. So
yeah, y'all know I'm not the baseball guy, so I'm really interested to hear what K-Walk has to say about it. But I thought it was great, Britt. I feel like it was long overdue. I don't see why there would be any reason not to include them in it, right? So I feel like it was a great move, long overdue. I did see some people on X saying, this shouldn't happen. They didn't face good pitching and all this stuff. I'm like, come on now. Like the players in the MLB weren't like, I would imagine if those two leagues went up against each other, it would have been very competitive. So miss me with that argument. Yeah, but no, I'm glad it happened. Long overdue. Happy that they're finally in the record books officially.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jay. I agree. It's way long overdue. Just, of course I wasn't alive to watch the Negro League back then.
No, I wasn't either, bro. We weren't either.
But none of us were. But I didn't mean to put y'all out there like that. But yes, I know y'all wasn't alive. But just over the years, you hear about so many great players like Satchel Paige and Smokey Joe Williams and Oscar Charleston and things like that. Yes, I talked to a lot of older folks, like our grandparents type older folks, and how incredible players they were, and how they used to just watch the Negro League. They would never watch the Major League Baseball because some of the better players were over in the Negro League. So I'm happy this is happening. I think I agree with you, Jay. I don't think when it comes to baseball, the skill set was that much different. No, let's be real. It wasn't the skill set that was a factor. It was a color situation that was a factor. Right. So they were discriminating back in those days prior to allowing black folks play in the major leagues. But K-Walk, I'm gonna come to you. You're the baseball experts amongst all of us. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but Josh, I got you. Josh Gibson is the guy that stood out the most. His percentage, his baseball on base percentage, he rose to the top of everyone. Notably, home runs were still the same. Everything else, were the same there, but Josh Gibson actually rose to the top. You mentioned Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson. Can't forget about the guy that laid the foundation. And it says Jackie Robinson. Yeah, he's on my Mount Rushmore. As far as greatest athletes of all time, ladies and gentlemen. That's a story. That's a topic for another day. I'll give that later. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great that they finally implemented this. And if they did face these players, I think the numbers might have been higher. To be perfectly honest with you, because of the fact of the matter is, when you're talking about the Negro League, we're talking about the best, the best against the best. Nothing to take away from the Babe Ruths, the Joe DiMaggios, the Lou Gehrig's and those guys, to mention a few. But I think the Negro League was probably the most competitive league. A lot of parity there. Certain guys got their opportunities there. Obviously Jackie Robinson, as I mentioned. But if you put those guys in the beginning, against the major leagues, I think we might see some records that may never have been broken, to be honest with you. Maybe stolen bases, maybe home runs, things of that nature. Because we still have an asterisk by Barry Bonds, even though he's an African American player. We still Hank Aaron's up there. Jackie Robinson may be that he may be up there in stats as well. But just a great decision by Major League Baseball, starting to recognize those guys and what they've done in that league, and hopefully we can see this it trickle down or trickle up, if you will, to the NBA as well, as you mentioned, Britt.
Yeah. And that was actually my next question. But before that next question, Willie Mays, he played in the Negro League as well.
No, he did not. No,
he did not. Okay.
No.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he played in it or not. I couldn't remember. But yes, my next question: should the NBA do the same with the ABA? A lot of greats came from the ABA to play in the NBA. And statistically, things would change a little bit on the NBA side. But should the NBA include stats from the ABA? Jay, you look like you ready to go on this one. Go ahead.
No, Britt, like when you said you were gonna talk about this or ask us about this, I start looking and I start trying to find a reason why they wouldn't. Like, was there some major difference? Is there some reason why they shouldn't do it? And I couldn't come up with anything, Britt. Like, I think it's probably long overdue, and it's probably something that needs to happen. Like a guy, one of your Dr. J, Britt, like he would have over 30,000 points if they would bring his ABA points over into the NBA record book. So again, I think it's one of those things that probably needs to happen. Long overdue, and there is some discussion about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point down the road, if it doesn't actually happen.
And I do stand corrected. Willie Mays did play in the Negro Leagues with the Birmingham Black Barons, so I do stand corrected there. Yes. Okay,
so there you go. That's another he's a Major League Hall of Famer, so he played with them as well. But Jay, going back to the NBA, ABA, I agree. I think they should incorporate it. I think at the time, during that level of the ABA, during that era of the ABA, they were basically in competition with the NBA for the best talent at that particular time. And at times, the ABA was actually more popular than the NBA, because the ABA, that's where you had your most athletic players. That's where you had the dunks and I don't know. It was just more entertaining than NBA. Not only Dr. J, Billy Cunningham, something just fell through me off. George Iceman Gervin, Connie Hawkins. You had some incredible players, talent in the ABA, and similar to the MLB, the skill level. Actually, you probably had some of your better players might have been in the ABA during this particular era, until but eventually the NBA ended up pulling a lot of those players over to the NBA, and that's how Dr. Dre ended up. I said Dr. Dre, Dr. J. 1, 2, 3 to the 4. So I'm just kidding. No, Dr. J ended up with my Philadelphia 76ers. And a lot of teams, the major teams, were with the ABA before they merged over to the NBA. So to me, the old ABA kind of just merged into the NBA. So I don't know why you would not include their stats. So I I think that's just the NBA being a little egotistical right now, thinking, oh, we overcame. They dissolved, we didn't. Well, they dissolved for a reason behind that. But K-Walk, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. Yeah, I think, we always talk about, the NFL and the NBA as a copycat league. I think that, with the major league, the sports, the major sports, NBA, hockey, football, and then baseball, it's a copycat profession. So I think once, the Major League Baseball, they have a foundation there, they laid a foundation there. So I think, we're going to start seeing, the NBA follow suit, and well, I don't, no NHL is going to happen, but NBA, I think they'll follow suit in a couple of years down the road, if not sooner. So I think they'll definitely be implemented, because these leagues don't want to be outdone by any stretch of the imagination. So they always want to try to put on the best, the show, if you will, especially when it comes to like all-star games, things of that nature, and drafts, and so forth and so on. So I think we're going to see that implemented very soon.
And I'm about to tell you guys how big of a Dr. J fan I am. One of my favorite movies, and it was not the best movies.
The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh.
The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. Now, mind you guys,
movie.
I was not born nowhere near around when this movie came out. But you was a baby at the time it came out.
When did that come out?
I think
like
the 70s,
early 70s?
70s, yeah.
Yeah,
Great
it's
movie,
in the 70s. The Fish. It's a great movie. Check it out if you could find it. I've been trying to find it forever. I think it was one of those things my parents recorded off a TV, so it's like on a blank, and I mean a blank VHS.
Wow.
Yeah, I was born at a time where we still had VCRs and VHSs. I was around for that era. So I cannot find.
They got it on
VHS.
Prime Video, I think.
It's on Prime Video.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it tonight then.
Watch that if you haven't watched it.
I am a
It's worth it. Yeah,
it is. I'm a real Dr. J fan, and that tells you how big Dr. J was back in those days. Like he was the biggest thing at that time period. So, it was huge that the NBA went and grabbed him. All right, guys, let's go.
And Britt, and if your zodiac sign is a Pisces, you would love it even more, because that's what it's about. The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh is about Pisces.
Yes, it is. So now we got to get to you guys' sports. Y'all play football. If you guys don't know, Jay and K-Walk are both D1 big time football players. Yes, Jay went to Penn State. K-Walk. Cinnamon. Come on now. Don't knock Temple. I know the football program.
I said
right now it's not the best. But yes, K-Walk played at Temple. Jay was a DB safety. K-Walk was a receiver. Man, I know too much about you guys.
Love it.
So they know football left and right. But I got to talk about this NFL because there has been a new training camp proposal that the NFLPA is considering. So the proposal will be eliminating the voluntary on-field work in the spring in favor of a longer training camp ramp-up, with players reporting in mid-June to early July. Players will have a more extended break if the workout sessions were consolidated instead of the current breaks between OTAs and summer training camp. So to put that a little bit shorter, I know I was reading that. The OTAs, the mini camps would basically be eliminated. Training camp will be longer and will start earlier. And this will hopefully eventually soon lead to an 18th regular season game. I feel like all in all, they're doing that to try to lessen the workload at the beginning to put more workload on the back end, I guess you could say. But what are your thoughts to my football guys here on this whole new training camp proposal? I know a lot of players, but I got to get your guys' thoughts. K-Walk, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I want to know if they're getting paid and what their contracts are, because if you're getting paid, you really don't have any complaints to be to be making, to be having. To be honest with you, me personally, I would not like it. because OTAs are voluntary. So that's some time you can have to rest up a little bit longer, I should say. I think your boy Micah J is all about that right about now. Mid contract negotiations.
Yeah.
He said he's resting his body. Come on, man, you missed me with that. But yeah, and then you have the mini camps right at the mandatory mini camps right after that. And then you have a break until training camp. So yeah, I'm against it, man. I don't like it because if you're going to go with the longer training camps and then you're going to go with the longer season as well, it's going to play put a toll on your body. I know people are going to say, well, they're making so much money, they shouldn't be complaining, But yeah, at the same time, yeah, you make that money because you're putting in that work. But at the same time, your body needs as much rest as it possibly can, because that's a physical. I mean, we talked about the WNBA being physical. I mean, we're talking about a totally different animal right now as far as the grind that they have to put in, the 2-a-days that they have to do, and the mental aspect of it plays a lot in it. As soon as you go to sleep, you're right back up and going right back at it, just not on the field stuff as well. I mean, you go into Jay, about this. You go into meeting after meeting after meeting, and then you try to try to get a nap in there. You can't, because you're right back at it, and you go into another meeting and you go into practice, so forth and so on. So yeah, I agree with these guys. If they can keep it the same way that it's been right now, then it's perfect. If you're asking me, and I was put in that situation, I would like to keep the routine or the situation the way it is right now, because that's a lot of grind on one's body.
Yeah, I agree. I know I'm not the football person here, but I think for me, the learning aspect of it, the learning curve, who knows if these players, it could be rookies coming in the game, it could be new coaches, new coordinators. I think the OTAs, and prior to the OTAs, I think mini camps, I guess, it allows them to not necessarily connect, because I don't think you could phase one, you can't speak to the coaches. You can't speak to them, I think, not until OTAs.
Right.
But if it's a new coordinator, you want to be able to get a head start. You want to be able to get your playbook, understanding new concepts. Football is a lot more complex, in my opinion. It's probably because I never played the sport. It's a lot more complex than basketball, in my opinion. I understand the X's O's in basketball. X's O's in football is like freaking trigonometry to me. So, but it allows a player get a head start on a learning curve, versus trying to get that in training camp, and now it's just piling all on top of each other. It could be a little bit stressful, and then here comes the season. So, because when training camp starts, the season is right around the corner. You got to be ready to go, and I just don't know if they will have the allotted time to be ready. But Jay, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, at first I was thinking I was going to go the other way, but now that I'm thinking about it, I agree with you guys, because if you start training camp in June, and like the teams that go to the Super Bowl, you're going June to February. That's 9 months. Like that, I think that is too long. And really, I think what it is the NFL is just trying to be slick, right? Like you said, they're trying to position this thing to add another game, and then also like they know, we're going to eliminate all the spring stuff. But they know guys are going to do it anyway. Quarterbacks are going to be getting with their receivers anyway. So, yeah, they're eliminating it, but people are still going to do it because they think that they need to be prepared. So it's really a way of just making training camp longer, knowing that on the front end, guys are going to do the work in the spring anyway because they're professionals and they want to be ready to go. So I agree with you guys. If I'm a player, I hate this idea. If I'm, maybe not a player and I'm trying to do things for the league, then obviously it's something I probably would want. But there's not too many things on this earth worse than training camp. So the thought of making it longer, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay.
Exactly. So I got a couple more topics. I know we're coming to the end of the show. Before we get to the next topic, first and foremost, thank you for all those who are watching us right now. We greatly appreciate it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Sideline Speaks. We greatly appreciate if you could like, comment, and share our channel as well. And thank you for helping us grow it. Again, if you have Yes, tell a friend. Tell a friend. And make sure you tell that friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Tell that friend to tell a friend.
Exactly.
And then again, if you ask us a question or make a comment, we will do our best to get to it while we are live on air. So real quick, guys, I know, Jay, this is some of your topics I just want to get into real quick.
Yeah.
You would probably know more about this because this was a little bit, I think, before my football time because I was in basketball prior. But I do know he was a Dallas Cowboy. Rest in peace. Larry Allen. Oh, and the 49ers. It always seems like back then the Dallas Cowboys and 49ers, y'all just interchanged players, didn't y'all? But anyway, Larry Allen, former Cowboy, former 49er. He recently passed away. My understanding, he was an extremely talented, real big guy. Benched like 700 pounds, by the way. He only did like 1 or 2 reps, but you still benched it. I just want to get your thoughts on his passing and just maybe him as a player. I'm going to have you guys answer this because I don't know anything about Larry Allen. K-Walk, I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard the news, I'm looking at like 52, like, wow, that's just 1 year older than I am. So yeah, very young. Thank you, Brett, for saying this. Yeah. But yeah, when you when you look at him and you look at his career, mostly with the Cowboys and the Cowboy career there, and he had, I think he had 3 Super Bowls, won 3 Super Bowls there, with arguably the best offensive line of all time. And I'm gonna miss a couple of guys here, but I remember him being one, Richmond Webb, Kevin Stefanski, Fansky, center. I know I'm missing 2. Nate Turner. Nate. I can't think of his name. Nate. Big Nate was one. As well. I can't think of the other one, but nonetheless, he was part of one of the greatest offensive lines. And a lot of people always argue, like, if Emmitt Smith didn't have that offensive line, would he be the all-time leading rusher in the NFL? Like, that was a big argument there. But nonetheless, hey, listen, if you have the best, you'll run behind it. I mean, you still have to run behind it. You still have to get past the linebackers and things of that nature. But they set the way for him. For Emmitt Smith and Larry Allen was one of the greats. And I remember when we first got him, the 49ers, I was happy. He was still, able to play. He played his last 2 years of his career with the 49ers, and he was still dominant there. Very strong guy, able to move guys, like they were just stick figures, man. I mean, he was just so dominant at his position. And to hear him pass, and I still don't know, I don't think it came out as far as how he passed, but they did say it was sudden, so he wasn't suffering from anything. So it was, when you hear that, you think it was a heart attack or something like that, but I don't want to speculate, ladies and gentlemen, by any means, by any stretch of imagination. But yeah, just a great loss, a great player, young man, that had an excellent career, Hall of Fame career without question. So rest in power, Larry Allen.
Absolutely, Jay.
Yeah, K-Walk, everything you said, way too young, number one. You hate to see that with his family on vacation, sudden, just so your heart goes out to the family. And you said it, K-Walk, probably the best offensive lineman ever to put a uniform on. And, we can talk about how great of a player he is. But the thing that really got me over the last couple of days was watching his teammates talk about him, like in interviews. They all just talked about what an incredible individual he was. So, man, it's heartbreaking to see something like that. So,
for sure.
Prayers to the family. We're thinking about you, and way too young for sure.
Absolutely. No, let's keep him in our prayers, and anybody who's lost anyone out there, we're keeping you in our prayers as well. All right, guys, let's see. I'm gonna wait to that one for last. I'm gonna have you guys handle that one again. So I did not watch that video. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But real quick, let's talk about Lamar Jackson. So Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson not showing up at OTAs. Like, we understand this is voluntary. But he's just missing in action, and I believe because he did not show up, he lost out on a $750,000 bonus, I believe, or incentive. He lost out on $750,000 incentive. What are your thoughts on? I guess I'm gonna give some hint on what I'm going to say right now. I'm gonna give a little hint on what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts on your quarterback, your leader, the richest man on your team, the player on your team, not showing up at any of the OTAs. He didn't show. Usually, you get multiple OTAs to go to. He didn't show up to any of them. Jay, I'm gonna come to you first.
My first thought is the money must be good if you can just blink at 750 like it ain't no big deal. But Britt, no, I thought it was a bad look, and I know it's voluntary, so he doesn't technically have to be there. But when you're the quarterback, and when all eyes are on you, even if you're not going to do a whole lot, just show up, just be there. And again, it's voluntary, so he doesn't have to be. So I don't want to like crush Lamar in this situation, but I just think you're the quarterback. You have a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. Every little thing is going to be scrutinized, especially you didn't play great in the last playoff game to end the year. So all eyes are kind of on you. I think you just show up, even if you're not going to do a whole lot, just to be there kind of gets things off and started on the right foot. So I thought it was a bad look. I'm not going to kill him for it, but if that were me, I would have been there.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jay. What is your goal? I think if your goal is to get to the Super Bowl, hopefully that's your goal. You got to get past those Chiefs. My goodness. And now I'm gonna say the Texans as well, throwing them in there as well.
Yeah.
To me, it's not a good look to start off. You got a lot of your vets were there, but the main guy wasn't there. I'm not saying show up at all the OTAs, but you could have showed up at a couple sessions. Maybe introduce yourselves to some of the younger players. Give them some advice. Say, hey, just try to create more of a positive, lead to a more positive, open type of culture. I'm here. I'm going to be a good teammate. I'm here to support you guys. You guys got my back. I got your back. And at the end of the day, we all got one common goal, and that's to get to the Super Bowl, because they already got playoff issues. Everybody that's looking at them saying, yeah, you could have a great record in a regular season, but are you becoming that AFC Dallas Cowboy type of thing? Because when you get to the playoffs, you don't perform well whatsoever. I just would have liked, I'm with you. He doesn't have to show up. It's voluntary, but just at least go to one. just one. I don't think one is asking for too much. Just to show, I'm the leader of this team. I'm setting a standard. That's what you want to show to the other guys. I'm setting a standard, because at the end of the day, I want to hold up that Lombardi trophy at the end of the year. Now, odds are, you might not get it, but still, at least you get the respect from your teammates. Like, yo, this guy, he didn't have to be here, but he showed up anyway. Yeah. K-Walk, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's really hard for me to say, because I want to hold off judgment, because I want to find out exactly what reason why he wasn't in OTAs. I mean, was it due to a family matter that he had to deal with? Mm-hmm. Because not only the money, let's just throw the money outside of it. You guys mentioned you got the money, you got the bag last year that you've been asking for, and you were holding out, and you ultimately got it. Now you got some new pieces in here, and so you want to build, a quarterback and a wide receiver. The chemistry there is crucial. You have to build that, as quickly as you possibly can. I mean, it's not something because with quarterback and receiver chemistry, it's not something that's automatic. It's either there or not. So I want to know why he wasn't there. I haven't heard any rumors as far as why he wasn't there. Obviously, it's not contract reasons. So I want to know what's going on there. To throw away $750,000, you got that bag. So $750. I got that in my, I got the bat in my back seat, or whatever the case may be. That's cute, right? But you want to be there, because as you mentioned, Britt, you're the leader of this team right now. You're the guy. You're the guy that everyone's looking for. You got paid, so there's no other reason. Unless it's a death in the family, and that's why I want to hold off judgment on this guy, because it could be something private, it could be something serious, and I don't want to condemn him for that. But if it's just the sake of I just don't want to go there, then we got a problem. Then we got a real problem, because you're that guy, and especially the way your season ended last year, you got to be there. I mean, you got to be the first guy in and the last guy out. First guy in and the last guy out for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I did hear, now I don't know if it was true, but it was out there a little bit, that he chose not to go to OTAs because he wanted to train with his guy. I don't know exactly where that was located.
Yeah.
So I don't know how true that is, but I believe that is what's going around right now. I just hope that it's more of. I actually hope it's not what K-Walk is saying, because you never want anything bad to go on
I don't. Yeah,
anybody's life. But I just don't know if that's a good. Like, you should be with your team.
Nah, that's a horrible reason.
And I was just looking, trying to read to see if I could find something. There was really no reason given. Like, they didn't say it was a personal issue or something going on with the family or anything like that. So again, we're speculating, but it's coming off as he just decided not to come. You know, so
Exactly.
yeah, I don't love that.
Not at all.
We'll see what happens. Well, I didn't have him going to Super Bowl again anyway. In the AFC,
all Texas Super Bowl this year, guys. Get ready for that.
Oh, and I know you bugging. Now I know you bugging. They still trying to figure out if they going, whether they going to pay their receiver, their linebacker / pass rusher, or even their quarterback. They don't know what they going to do right now.
I
those don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Dallas.
I already seen the outcome, ladies and gentlemen. So you guys can relax. Go ahead.
Oh, they paid the receiver?
It doesn't matter if they pay.
No, K-Walk's already got his Super Bowl winner. He's got his Super Bowl winner.
No question. No question. Nah,
all right,
no
last
question.
thing. I'm gonna have you guys speak on this. I did not watch this video. It just looks stupid as heck to me. So I wasn't even gonna waste my I'm saying it right here, right now. I wasn't gonna waste my daggone time. Look, I understand some players are talented in what they do, but then others, it's a reason why you're an athlete. Just stick with what you know. Okay. But anyway, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, recently retired, I guess you could say. Darren Waller, the New York Giants, because technically he played 1 year with them, but he recently retired. But he had a awkward music video that came out about his newly ex-wife, which is also WNBA player Kelsey Plum. What is going on in this world today? I have no idea. Now, you could have just kept this silent. Keep it to yourself. Okay, you and your marriage didn't work out. Keep it to yourself. I didn't watch the music video because, like I said, I thought it was going to be a waste of my good old time. But J.K. Walk, I don't know if you guys watched it. Your thoughts? Anybody could go first. I don't care.
I watched as much of it as I could take, Britt, and trust me, it was really bad. It was bad. The singing was really bad. It was hard to listen to. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It was just like you said, awkward. Like there's really no other word to describe it. Just really awkward. He did at the end of it, Britt, like the act.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to do to myself. Jay.
Was
at the end.
Was playing Kelsey Plum. Like they hugged at the end, and then she like put a knife in his back. So it was just very, very, very strange and weird, but hey, I guess love hurts sometime and it makes you do some crazy things. But whoo, that was a weird one. But go ahead, K-Walk.
Jay, I've broken up with a few females, man, and I just don't know, bro. I just don't know if I could go that route, bro. I mean, this was like, this was it's just hard, and I'm finding myself like engaged. Like, is this guy serious right now? He's dead serious with this.
Right.
He's dead serious about this. And like you mentioned, at the end, they're on the beach. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't watched it, I'm going to give it away. They're on the beach. He sticks the knife in his back, and he falls on the ground, and she walks away from him. Just horrible. Darren Waller and I'm sure Kelsey Plum is just like, you see why I divorced this guy, man? This is one of the reasons why this guy is is something wrong with this guy, man. Something wrong with this guy. But yeah, just one of the craziest things that I don't know. It's just 3 minutes, and I don't know how long it was. 3 minutes and 50 seconds, however long of my life that I just can't get back. But yeah,
that's another smoky moment. He gonna cry.
Yeah. Oh, nah, he ain't gonna cry. I don't know what you could label that as. He wasn't gonna cry. He cried everywhere. He cried everywhere. Not just in the car. He cried everywhere, not just in the car, bro.
he was the one running to the car. My grandmama gave me that tree, man.
I hate y'all.
It's not funny. All right, guys. Yeah, I guess that's it for today. Jay, I guess thank you for letting me take over the entire show
That was
today.
great. We should do this every week.
Absolutely not. My throat is I need a break. But no, I guess before we end the show, we're gonna do what we always do. Jay, if I'm messing this up, please let me know, because you're the ender of the show. I'm the intro, the opener. But we're just gonna go around real quick. Tell the audience where they can find you and what you are most looking forward to. K-Walk.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, right there, Kevin Walker. Instagram, Kevin.Walker142, and X Kevin at Kevin Walker 142. And you catch me tomorrow night on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio, Sports Talk with K Walk and E Scott, 7 p.m. every Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Catch me and E Scott. We have a great dialogue. We like to entertain. So wherever you get your podcast, ladies and gentlemen, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you get it, Google, just put in Never Had It So Good Sports Radio, Sports Talk with K Walk and E Scott. I'm looking forward to this week. Got the NBA's finals on Thursday. I am into hockey a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, so I'll probably check a little bit of that out. Also between the Oilers and the Panthers. Also, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, my Rangers went down. Yeah, I know, right? My Rangers went down too. So don't feel bad. And then my Yankees, Brit. It looks like we're on a crash course right now. Yankees, Phillies, World Series. So let's hopefully that comes to fruition.
Oh, we're redeeming ourselves.
Yeah. So So just looking forward to that. Without question, ladies and gentlemen. So again, just check me out on social media and check out our show tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Britt, Jason, please come on there. Come on. Yeah, I know y'all scared. I know y'all scared to take on K-Walk, in that
you cheat,
segment, but
no, you
I don't cheat, Britt. I know,
you don't cheat. You just be knowing too much stuff.
Yeah, so bring it on. Maybe I'll put the 25 up tomorrow night. I'll put $25 up to the winner who anyone could beat me. No Googling allowed, ladies and gentlemen. No Googling allowed. So check it out. But go ahead.
Sorry. You know what, Jay? Yeah, I'll go next because I always go. I'll go next. You guys can find me on oh my goodness, I'm sitting here going next. Can't even think of the platform. You guys can find me on Instagram and X, aka Twitter, at Brittany Monique. It's right there at the bottom of my screen. Make sure you spell Brittany right. I'm pretty sure you know how to spell Monique. But I'm also looking forward to the rest of the WNBA season, the NBA finals. Baseball, I'm getting back into it. We're not quite near Red October when I'm really involved, but the Phillies are kind of exciting me this year. Hopefully they stay on the course and don't fall off. And then, of course, NFL training camp is literally right around the corner. So I'm getting excited for that because that's going to ramp back up real soon. And college football, we're going through spring football right now. That's also right around the corner. But Jay?
Yeah, you guys can find me at Jason Talk Sports on all the different platforms at Jason Talk Sports. Yeah, Britt, I'm excited about our Phillies potentially taking on K-Walk's Yankees. So I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, all the basketball stuff that we got going on. And the UFL, the playoffs start this weekend, the United Football League. So I'm going to try to catch some of that as well. So lots of good stuff going on right now.
Yes. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take K-Walk's advice on this one and try to give somewhat of a little bit of advice just from base of what we talked about today. When you meet new people, you may come from different backgrounds, you may come from different cultures. Granted, they may not believe in the same thing that you believe in, but learn to understand, lean in with love, lean in with respect, and hopefully this world could grow into a much better place than in what it is right now. Hopefully that was somewhat good advice. I'm not sure.
Good
trying. But no, just thank you everyone for watching us. We will be back next week. So please tune in every week live on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, while we're live, if you ask us any comments or questions, we will do our best to answer those comments, to respond to those comments and answer those questions live on air. But please just follow us or subscribe to us. My apologies. Subscribe to us on YouTube at The Sideline Speaks. We would greatly appreciate your support. And please like, comment, and share as well. But thank you guys. Have a good night. See you next week.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Brittany Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.